Welcome back to Just Add Seasoning. So there's been a little bit of a drought of new sneakers being added to the sneakers app of late, but all of a sudden we've got 7 new sneakers added to the app. So I'm going to talk about the first 3 of them today, and then in the next video we're going to talk about the remaining 4, and we're going to look at the details, go into it, and get through this together. So let's jump into the upcoming tab and go from here. Okay, so first up we've got the Air Huarache. This is in what they're calling the Dark Sulphur colorway, but you might know it as the Escape colorway from 2003. So yes, this is a retro of an original silhouette, of course, with Huarache, and a retro of an original, well, not an original colorway, but a 2003 colorway at least. This Escape colorway has been seen on a few different Nikes over the time, a few different Air Maxes. I'd like to see it come back on a few other silhouettes as well. What we can see, if we look at the inside of the shoe here, on the insole, we've actually got the original Nike logo. So this is a true retro through and through with the original Nike logos and everything. So I absolutely love the earthy tones on this. I'm a fan of a sneaker with earthy tones. But if I'm going to go for any Huarache, I don't currently own any Huaraches, but if I was going to, I'd go for the Stussy collab that they retroed a while back now. There's no sign of the Escape colorway coming to the US sneakers app yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if it did shortly after we've had ours in Europe. For those of you who are going to try and seek this out on StockX, this is literally just known as the Escape 2021 on StockX, but Huarache's never seemed to do well on the resale market. At the time of recording on StockX, there's nothing above retail, so I'd recommend this one for a personal only. So the next sneaker we got on the app is coming out on the 17th of April. This is the Air Tuned Max in Midnight Navy. So this is actually the first new Air Tuned Max colorway that we've had since 1999, when the Air Tuned Max actually came out. So the OG of the Air Tuned Max was in the celery color that was retroed last month and inspired shoes such as Skepta's MX 97s. There were some sort of lesser known colorways for the 1999 model back in the day, such as Neutral Grey, but the one that everybody always remembers and thinks about is the celery, which was a sort of green on the back heel and then a sort of browny copper colour for the remainder of the shoe, with some little black accents on it as well. So Midnight Navy is part of 3 new colorways that are coming our way over the next few weeks or months, or possibly over the course of the year. But the 3 new colorways will be called Midnight Navy, like we've got here. There's also Racer Blue, which is going to be white and like a sort of lighter blue. I might see if I can get that up on the screen. And there's also going to be Aquamarine, which actually looks really cool. It's a sort of like a metallic-y seafoam sort of colour. I actually probably like either that one or maybe the Midnight Navy the best. But as I'm flicking through the pictures for these, you can see that for the Air Tuned Max, they've kept all of the features of the silhouette, from what I can see, true to its original 1999 form. I guess they might have made improvements in the materials they use, things like that, the construction, but in terms of the things that we can see and touch on the shoe, I think it looks as good as it did back in 1999. I really do feel that this new colorway, but also the 3 new colorways that I mentioned that are coming to the Air Tuned Max, really do bring a 20 plus year old silhouette and just drag it into the 21st century. Because I think that the celery colorway, although it's a classic and it's iconic and it's the original blah blah blah, it just wasn't for me because it's brown and green at the end of the day. Whereas these do look a little bit more up to date. There's no significant bids for this on StockX so far, and in fact the celery retro from last month is only selling around retail sort of prices on StockX so far, so I wouldn't be surprised if this doesn't exactly take off, because if anything was going to take off on StockX, you'd assume it'd be the retro of the OG rather than a new colorway given to an OG silhouette. Okay, so moving on, we've got the Air Jordan 1 Hyper Royal. Now this is coming out on Saturday the 17th, so it's going to be another early morning for us on Saturday. This is another new Jordan 1 colorway, which is always nice to see. The Hyper Royal, for me, looks like a suede a higher quality version of the UNCs that we saw not too long ago, which were using a smooth leather. I always tend to prefer suede, so I think these look fantastic. This is, as I flick through the pictures here, a super clean colorway, and I can see lots of people wanting to get hold of it. The blue almost looks like a sort of stonewashed denim, which is why I'm rocking the Levi's today, just to keep in with the denim vibes. But this isn't what I would call a hyper royal Jordan 1. Hyper royal for me is this sort of royal blue that we can see here on the tongue tags and the this contrasting stitching accents. So I think that actually when they say hyper royal, what they mean is hyper royal accents with more of a sort of baby blue, like I said, almost a UNC sort of suede. But whatever they're calling it, this looks stunning. The grey I think works really well on the outsole, on the collar, on the swoosh. I think that's the only places we've got grey. Yeah. Now with these, there is apparently extra laces in the box, which is always a winner. Those also come in hyper royal blue. So I think they would work incredibly well with this, considering we've got those tiny little pops of hyper royal across the shoe. The colours on these at some angles remind me a little bit of the Carpet Company dunks that we saw a while back, because they used quite a light blue, which then tore away to reveal the pans underneath. It was one of my favourite releases of the last few months, to be honest. So I would like to get my hands on these. A lot of people, alternatively to me saying they look like the Carpet Company dunks, say they actually look and remind them of the turbo green Jordan ones. Now the turbo greens were obviously green, but it was the same sort of colour palette with a suede. But the turbo greens had a few different features. They had some writing across the mid panel. They had, I think the mid panel was also like a different textured leather. It wasn't a smooth leather. I think it was almost like, you see that crinkly leather. I never managed to get my hands on turbo greens anyway. But those are selling very well on StockX, as are the Carpet Company dunks. So this being a Jordan 1, let's look at StockX and see just how crazy prices are going already. See, even when we type in Hyper Royal, the shoe that I think of when we say Hyper Royal is probably, all the ones below what we're looking at here. And of course the one to the side of the Jordan 1 that we're looking at today. Let's look at the prices on this one in particular. So at time of recording, the high on this is £350 for a US 16 or UK 15. That would net you £306.25 and a nice little profit. On the lower end, we've got a US 18 or £147. After fees, £128. You would not make any money on that, but I think you will at least make your money back on almost every size after these release anyway. So that is that.